Hi all, good evening and welcome. I am Mangesh Deshmukh from Corporate Communication team and on behalf of CareEdge, I welcome you to our today's discussion on Sparkling Shift. Lab-grown diamonds gain while natural diamonds brace for margin dip. And sincerely appreciate your time in joining us for this webinar. We would like to welcome our esteemed guest speakers for today. Mr. Rajagopalan Kuravai, Non-Executive Director, Hari Krishna Export Private Limited. Mr. Vishok Kumar, DGM and Branch Head, SBI Diamond Branch. Mr. Smit Patel, Director, Greenlab Diamonds. This session will be moderated by Divyesh Shah at CareEdge. We will commence the session with a presentation by Ujjwal Patel and Manohar. This will be followed by a panel discussion and Q&A session. In case of queries, participants are requested to key in your panel. We will take up your queries during our panel discussion session. Now may I invite Ujjwal and Manohar to make their presentations?
Uh, Thank you so much for the brief introduction and for the launch. My name is Ujjwal, and the presentation right now is broadly divided into sessions. One is on the natural diamonds, and the other one growing segment, which is the lab-grown diamonds. In the natural diamonds, apart from the global jewelry and the polished diamond statistics, we'll be covering the India's presence, how has been the growth statistics and key performance of CPD players for FY22, how it was expected for FY23, and a brief outlook. And same for the lab-grown diamond, since it's an emerging sector, a lot of information is not yet in the public domain. We would just like to brush upon the topics of how the production and consumption topic hubs has been, its growth statistics, and will present a brief outlook and key monitorable for both segments. The key takeaways, just to brief it before we go in details, for natural diamonds, we feel that going forward in the near term, it's basically the low discretionary demand due to adverse macroeconomic factors has been impacting demand, and the realizations has continued to remain high despite dip in demand. So we feel that the margin dip is imminent for natural diamonds in the near term. A brief outlook, demand revival during the forthcoming holiday season remains crucial. From the lab-grown segment, we feel that India has potential and is on the way to emerge as a global manufacturing hub for lab-grown diamonds. And its overall exports, although reflecting a declining trend in last 2-3 quarters, has in propensity to go with increasing acceptability as a diverse diamond jewelry segment. We expect a bit of moderations in the profitability for this segment as well, with reduction in sales realizations and technological advancement, which is helping us to reduce the cost, which may eventually be passed on to the end customers. Credit profile for both the segment entities present in these segments is expected to remain stable, with the focus of reducing inventory and borrowings by the natural diamond players, and the lab-grown diamonds with an good visibility with respect to scaling of operations upon completion of the ongoing projects. Continuing with the natural diamonds, the global jewelry mix, as shown in the pie chart, remains concentrated between the gold jewelry and diamond-studded jewelry, with each contributing roughly around 40 to 45% share. In terms of countries, actually, USA continues to be the major jewelry market, diamond jewelry in particular, with more than 50% market share, followed by China and India. The global diamond jewelry, demand significantly rebounded in CY21 to USD 87 billion due to, in personal feel, it was an overstimulation of the US economy and lack of avenues of experience-based spending. This overstimulation of the economy with low interest rates has consequences, as we have noted in the past, and it has created a ripple effect throughout the entire industry, which has led to rising fuel prices, food and interest cost in USA, and lockdown restrictions with real estate and banking crisis in China has led to low purchasing power and weakened customer sentiment, confidence, especially we feel in the short term. Particularly, this is applicable in the luxury sector, where goods are not particularly daily necessities. The same is also reflected by dip in overall demand to USD 80 billion, and as per our preliminary estimate, it is expected to decline further in the current year. Considering high correlation between global polished demand and the diamond jewelry graph, as shown in graph 3, it is also expected to follow a similar suit. In terms of country-wise productions, Russia continues to be the largest producer. If we look in particular the upstream segment, the pie chart reflects that there has been no impact of the ongoing war on the Russian rough diamond productions in the calendar year of 22, and it still continues to be the largest rough diamond producer at 42 million carats. After buoyant 2 years, wherein most of the producing countries exported more than it produced, the sales value and volume of the mining countries during calendar year of 22 presented on the right side reflects a dip in sales volume. While the dip in margin for Russia primarily reflects the ban post its Ukraine invasion. For rest of the miners, it's a reflection of the inflationary pressures and the ripple impact of elevated fuel, labor, and eventually on its production cost. Consequently, while sales volumes have declined, the elevated cost has been passed on through increase in the rough diamond prices to the midstream segment and not eventually led to expansion of margins of the miners significantly. If we consider India in the entire the scheme of things, the diamond value chain, we feel that it is largely concentrated and oligopolistic, with top 3 countries constituting 70% of total exports, top 2 miners accounting for more than 50% of total supply, and the midstream segment, wherein India has the largest presence, processes more than 90% of natural diamonds. Nevertheless, considering low value addition, Indian entities are price takers at both ends with limited pricing flexibility. During FY23, India imported from total of 134 million carats of rough diamonds, and it exported a low of 24 million carats, although the overall dip in value was not that significant, marking an over year-on-year reduction of roughly around 20% in volume terms. This has led to a huge inventory holding for midstream entities at India level. And even if we look at the inventory level, which is present on RapNet, which is roughly around 1.75 million pieces, it is 16% above pre-COVID levels recorded on July 1st of 2019 at RapNet. Again, at more elevated prices than the pre-COVID times. When looking at the exports, if we look at the past performance and how future seems like, the overall growth trajectory as well as the diamond prices run has been curved to a certain extent from Q1 of FY23. And we're seeing that trend going forward with a dip as marked by a dotted red arrow in the graph, with the Russian invasion of Ukraine and Fed raising the rates for the first time in the March of 2022. There has been series of interest rate hikes which has dampened the customer segment and necessities for discretionary spending. The factors more above that, the factors that we discussed earlier in the presentation, has squeezed the profit margins of the Indian entities, and the rough diamond prices are still high, while polished diamond prices have continuously declined. However, the decline, which was noted in Q1 of FY24 by 30% to USD 4.4 million, seems to be on a little bit on the higher side, which is in response to the higher base noted after commencement of war. Nevertheless, we believe that the holiday season is likely to lift CPD sales from the second half of FY24 and also remains a key monitorable for the industry as well as the rating agencies. In terms of prices, if we look at the sales realization graph marked in gray, reflects the gradual increase in CPD prices on the one hand, rather primarily fueled by 2 reasons. One is the infusion of liquidity, and on the other hand, curbing of the expenditure revenues. The significant rise in Q4 of FY22 reflected in the rise the highest point to USD $966. Post-Russian invasion marked a new benchmark also for the industry, and it remained elevated at above 860 levels throughout the FY23 and even in Q1 and FY24. The volume graph, which is marked in green, has been reducing quarter and has been a reflection of dip in orders from the retail segment to eventually jewelry manufacturers and following to the midstream segment, lower orders for the Indian entities as well. Looking at the performance of the players in the CPD entities, we have summed up the performance of the top 7 CPD players in rated by CARE, and the effect of all these factors is largely reflecting in the overall performance and their margins as well. While FY22 recording was an all-time high for all these industries as well, recording a combined turnover of more than 42,000 crores and an EBITDA margin of 6.43%. It has been in seeing a declining trend, therefore, for FY23, based on our estimates and interactions with the industry people, we expect there to dip roughly to about 39,000 with a roughly around 115-120 basis points shrink in EBITDA margin. This largely follows the industry trend and particularly the dip in demand following dip in polished diamond prices vis-a-vis high rough diamond prices. This trend is likely to continue and drop down to 37,000 crores. We expect further dip, along with that roughly around 50 to 60 basis points of dip in margins. This is more or less the preliminary estimates and remains to be seen with respect to how the holiday season stumps up. Whereas compared to the bank borrowings and leverage, and the reason why we mentioned our outlook to be stable is because of gradual deleveraging of balance sheets. This high profitability, high turnover has led to huge accrual of surplus funds to reserves, and consequently, even though the borrowings increased by 300 and 400 crores entity-wise or combined 3,000 to 4,000 crores, the leverage shows a declining trend because of accretion of funds to net worth. This primarily reflects the gearing chart as in bank borrowings and leverage. We see that bank borrowings, although elevated, the gearing has been coming down. We still expect with further focus of the entities on reducing their leverage through collections and postponing the rough diamonds procurement. Leverage to expected to continue. Leverage would have been 0.5 times as on March of 2023, which will further reduce as on FY24 levels. This, in our opinion, continues to remain true because of further accrual of reserves. So even if the borrowings remain at a stable level, the ratios won't deteriorate significantly. In terms of, to sum up my presentation on the natural diamonds, current market trends, high inventory level with midstream processing entities looking for increase in demand from retail customers, dip in rough diamond and polished diamond prices, although not in tandem, but most of the players, most of the site holders whom we discuss have been insisting on either delaying the purchases or has been insisting on further reduction in rough diamond prices for it to make viable for them to process it. And there has been a low demand due to inflationary pressures, and technically Q1 has been a lull period for diamond jewelry as well. Our outlook is, I mentioned, is overall exports to reduce by roughly around 5 to 10% in FY23, with further shrinkage in EBITDA margins by 50 to 60 basis points. Key monitorables, again, this numbers are 5 to 10% and 60 basis points primarily relies on the fact that we'll see a good holiday season, we'll see good orders starting building up from September to October onwards, and this revival remains a key monitorable. The ratios are about to change, or we feel that the performance might be impacted if things don't go as such. That is it from my side. I request my colleague Manohar to please take over and give us insights on the Lagoon Diamond segment.
Yeah, thanks Ujjwal for your insight on natural diamonds. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Manohar Annappanavar. In this section, we will cover lab-grown diamonds, also referred to as LGD. As you maybe already know, LGD possesses the same chemical and physical properties as natural diamonds and are certified using the same forces, that is cut, color, clarity, and carat, as their natural counterparts. However, they do differ in some aspects. Uh, which we will delve further into. Apart from affordability, increasing awareness about origin, environmental impact, and the rising preference for the sustainable jewelry option has resulted in increased acceptability of LGD. Moreover, with the technological advancement coupled with a shift in pricing mechanism from a discount to a natural diamond to a cost plus pricing has resulted in rationalization of prices, thus increasing affordability appeal. Also has resulted in improved quality of the product. Unlike natural diamonds, which is oligopolistic, LGD growing is quite diversified and faces competition from both domestic as well as international players. Moving on to the next slide, let's look at take a closer look at the supply and demand side of the LGD market. As far as production is concerned, currently it is produced using two primary technologies. That is, one is chemical vapor deposition, and another is a high pressure, high temperature. So while CVD technology developed in India has gained widespread adoption globally due to superior clarity and color of the rough produced, whereas Chinese manufacturer continue to rely on HPST technology. Given the better quality and the color of the rough produced by the CVD technology, the same is increasingly being adopted across the places. As per our estimates, there are about 80 odd companies presently operating in India with about 6,000 machines, having a capacity of about 170 to 220 carats per month per machine, and with a yield of about 30-35%. Further, there has been a large capacity additions being implemented in the LGD space in India. Accordingly, we expect India to become one of the largest producer of LGD by FY25. As far as consumption is concerned, in the previous slide only, which one? Yeah. As far as consumption is concerned, similar to natural diamond, USA continues to account for a significant portion of approximately about 80% of the total LGD consumption. The pie chart on the left shows the export destination of polished LGD from India. It can be observed that US continues to remain a major export destination with its share consistently increasing, indicating a growing acceptability of LGD. Furthermore, the growing demand for the LGD in USA as well as the potential markets such as UK and Australia indicate a favorable market conditions for lab-grown diamond exports. Next slide. Yeah, turning our attention to LGD exports from India, we observe a noteworthy trend. While the growth of LGD remains geographically diverse, India stands out as a major hub for polishing and exporting almost entire rough LGD production across the world. So accordingly, the quarterly data of the polished diamond exports from India published by GJEPC has been witnessing a significant upward trend over the last couple of years. The lifting of lockdown, restriction in USA, China had led to a recovery in demand, which can be seen from the two sections, second and third. The demand for LGD had witnessed a sharp improvement in the past, with LGD exports from India surpassing about $1 billion in FY22 and have continued to remain strong in FY23. However, in the recent past, market scenario, given the current market scenario, factors such as inflationary pressures, rising interest rates, and slower economic growth are weighing on the demand for the discretionary spending, especially natural diamonds. However, LGD continues to remain strong. So the overall exports of the LGD from India showed some moderation in Q1 FY24. Last bar in the chart. In value terms, given the sharp decline of prices of LGD in the recent past, in volume terms, it continues to remain strong, indicating continued traction for the LGD. Next slide. Yeah, this chart depicts the trend in the share of LCD consumption and a natural diamond in the jewelry in carat terms. We can see a notable trend that with the growing acceptability, the share of LCD consumption in the jewelry as a whole in carat terms has been on the increasing trend and has witnessed a sharp increase in the recent past. Going by the trend, we as a care estimate that the LGD share would surpass natural diamonds in terms of volume, whereas value continue to remain low. Yeah. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, in this slide, let us see how the realization of LGD and cost have moved in the past. As mentioned earlier, there has been a significant development in the technological advancement in growing rough LGD, resulting in improved quality as well as reduction in cost of production. Also, it has been a notable observation that there is a shift pricing in the pricing mechanism, wherein earlier like player used to discount it with the natural diamonds, whereas now from to cost plus approach. So that also has resulted in rationalization of the price. In view of the large capacity addition planned by the players, the prices of LGD are expected to rationalize further. So as can be seen from the chart, as per the data published by DGIPC, this is the export of polished LGD diamonds from India has witnessed a remarkable growth of approximately about 41% over the last 4 years, that is during FY 20 and 23. Given the significant capacity addition by the industry players being implemented across the geographies and also majorly in India, we expect the exports of polished LGD to cross at least $3 billion in value terms by FY 26. Move to that. Yeah. Here, now let's discuss some of the key trends and monitorable for the LGD market. As covered earlier, in order to cater to the growing demand of the LGD, the manufacturers are implementing large capacity addition in the rough growing space. Further, polishers are either setting up a new capacity or earmarking a part of the capacity to polish LGDs. So the impact of large capacity addition on the pricing and the cost structure of the LGD and the continued acceptability of LGD as a diverse jewelry segment remains a key monitorable. In the nutshell, we expect the overall exports from India to cross about $3 billion, and the margins, given that rationalization of the LGD prices are expected to come down a bit. Yeah. Moving on to next slide. Ujjwal, next slide. Yeah. So here finally let's take a glimpse at the rating dispersion for the K-rated entities in the gems and jewelry segment. K-rating has a decent set of portfolio of companies in the G&G segment, with a large part of the portfolio in the investment grade, accounting for about 72%. It can also be observed from the chart on the left side that there are nil downgrades in FY 23, which is in line with the strong performance of the companies in the segment, both in terms of scale and profitability, coupled with increased focus of the companies on the deleveraging, thus keeping the balance sheet quite strong. So we expect the credit profile of the players to largely improve from the current levels. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Over to you, Mangesh.
Thank you, Manohar. Thank you, Ujjwal. Attendees are requested to key in their questions, which we will take up during our panel discussion. Now, may I invite Divyesh Shah to take over the session. Divyesh Shah is Director Ratings at CareEdge. Divyesh has total work experience of 20 years, of which he has been associated with CareEdge for over 16 years. He has worked in the research and rating division at Care, currently handling various companies in the manufacturing and real estate sector. He is a part of various rating committees at Care and is MBA Finance by qualification. Over to you.
Thank you, Mangesh, and a very good afternoon to all. We have with us today some of the best industry experts to discuss the sector in detail and provide us their views on how the sector looks like. I would like to introduce you to our esteemed panelists. Our first panelist for today is Mr. Rajagopalan Kuravai. He holds MSc Physics and CAIIB, Certified Associate of Indian Institute of Bankers degree. He has 3 decades of experience in banking industry. He has retired from State Bank of India as DGM of Diamond Branch in the year 2006. He joined Hare Krishna Group in 2007 as advisor to the management. He also became non-executive director of the company on 1st October 2012 and has been providing financial advice to the company. The second panelist for today is Mr. Vishok Kumar, DGM and branch head at SBI Diamond Branch. He has completed more than 25 years in the banking industry. Prior to this, he has worked in various verticals of banking such as retail, SME, finance, credit compliance, and also corporate finance in Mumbai and various other parts of Maharashtra. Let me introduce you to our third panelist for today's session, Mr. Smit Patel. He is the director of Greenlab Diamonds, which is one of the largest lab-grown diamond player. Holding a degree in global business management from Regents University, Mr. Patel is an esteemed panel member of the lab-grown diamond sector of the prestigious Gem and Jewellery Export Promotion Council, GJEPC. As a third-generation diamantier, Mr. Patel comes from a family with a rich history in diamond manufacturing and exporting with over 50 years. He leads Greenlab's research and development, sales, marketing, public relations, organizational management, and value systems. Mr. Patel is also spearheading the jewelry division of the company, Greenlab Jewel Private Limited. A very warm welcome to all the esteemed panelists, and thank you for joining us today. So yeah, my first question now is to Rajagopalan sir. Sir, the CPD industry, after seeing robust growth after COVID, is now seeing some slowdown. In view of the current sluggish global scenario, we would like to know your views on the industry for both volume and realizations of polished natural diamonds. You're on mute, sir.
The outlook is rather bleak, I should say. In the last 3 months, according to GJEPC, there has been a 30% reduction in sales of polished diamonds and approximately more than 20% reduction in purchase of roughs also. And that shows very well, how this demand as well as the realization, the margins, how they are highly affected. This last year there has been a 10% reduction in performance. This year I do expect the reduction to be more than that. It should be some, according to me, if this Diwali goes very well, we would be in a position to see a reduction of somewhere around 15% as compared to last year. It should not be, I feel that it will not be less than 15%. That is what I have a feeling. With regard to the realization has been very good. There has not been a problem in realization. There has been a problem in margins. It's very difficult for these natural diamond manufacturers to keep their heads above water. And to manage the inventories is really a major difficulty, because whatever is, in natural, it is not like lab-grown diamonds where you can manufacture diamonds to the T. Here, everything comes out of it, as I used to say, like churning of the ocean of milk, Amrit also came out of it, the fish also came out of it. That is how this natural diamond is. You have got marketable diamonds, you have got diamonds which cannot be marketed easily. So you have to ensure that the marketable diamonds margin are in a position to cover the margins, or otherwise lack of margins in the non-marketable lot, and ensure that the inventory gets cleared very quickly. That means one has to be on its toes. In fact, this year and last year has been rather rope walking for this natural diamond industry. And I expect that in another year or so, it will continue like this till the time, a balance is struck between the manufacture of both the types of diamonds. And, where the demand is not is stabilized. And also, that what you are getting out of these mines, and which one you are getting out of the mines you can really accept and produce, which one you should not accept, That clarity, yes, in larger diamond manufacturers like ours, that clarity has crept in. But in the entire industry, I very much doubt whether that clarity is there or not. So naturally, this is rather a sort of a reforming period, a transformation period for the diamond industry. We are all put in the churning box, and let us see what comes out of the churning over a period of time. This Diwali will tell us how things will be. That is what I feel.
Okay, so I hope this Diwali brings cheer to the industry.
Pardon?
Hope this Diwali brings cheer to the industry.
Yeah, that is, we are earnestly expecting it.
Okay. So given, we spoke of margin decline and price rationalization, we also understand that the inventory with the diamond players is a bit high, and there is a demand slowdown, there is a price reduction. So do you see any, how is the inventory valuation shaping up for the players, and any impact of that on the utilization of the sanction limits? Because I think working capital funds is largely used by these players.
An experienced diamond manufacturer has always been very careful to see that the inventory is rationalized. He doesn't allow the inventory to build up beyond a particular level, and one should have that courage to dispose it off in the market, even at a loss. So otherwise, holding it on is really holding a trouble in your hand. So these people at the higher, who have been experienced, they are aware of it. This type of balancing will becoming more and more difficult as time passes by. And some sort of in manufacturing techniques also, one has to find out ways and means of how to take care of it. And the market also should be in a position to understand and absorb this. It will happen, this is a sort of what I should say, an interim period where the changes are taking place. So probably in another 5 to 6 months time, everything will settle down. But the players who have been there for long, they know what they are doing, and therefore they don't allow the inventories to go beyond a particular level. Expecting that things will improve, holding on to the inventory. That has been the practice of the diamond industry for long. But now it is not there. People have realized that, holding the inventory is not an acceptable, behavior. So people are very careful about it. And that is the reason why you find that the purchases are down. People are rationalizing their production. You see, when you are getting diamonds, marketable lot, the margin you get out of the marketable lot should be able to cover, the losses you are making by selling the unmarketable lot. If you are getting a bunch of diamonds, which is not going to satisfy that criterion, you should not go for purchase of such diamonds. So it requires a lot of experience, lot of empirical knowledge which you have gathered out of years of time, and the data, and how to convert the data into purchase, the purchase behavior. So this comes out of experience only. So people are able to do that, but as time passes by, it will be more and more tough, But I think people will be able to come out of it, and things will stabilize after some time.
Okay. I think you touched upon the point of purchases. So, I had to ask the view of Mr. Vishok Kumar on how, post the war, there were sanctions on Russia, and the Alrosa is one of the large suppliers. So, how do you see, the payment mechanism happening currently, and any progress on the rupee ruble arrangement?
Are you able to listen, Mr.?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. In fact, right now we don't have any such informations on that. Our bank is, allowing payment, for this ruble. Maybe some other banks are allowing some others route, but not our bank. And perhaps 1 or 2 days before or a day before already, this Al Roja CFO has also been, they have been put to blacklist, no transactions, nothing in US dollar. So they have also been restricted. So in recent, I don't see any until unless something a bank is working on. We are not allowing. We have not been allowed to do this transaction.
Okay. So, Rajagopalan sir, your view on how the players are adjusting to this shortage of
in
payment?
the present state, purchases when they are controlled very much, and disposal of the diamonds manufactured out of Alrosa to the major consumer being the United States, one has to be very careful in purchasing materials that are coming from Russia. Of course, materials are coming from Russia and they are being paid for also. There are banks who are in a position to manage the remittances. And there is reluctance on the part of Russia to accept rupee payments also against Alrosa, against these diamonds. So, but there are some incentives they are offering through Dubai and all these things. There are quite a few various channels through which you can make these purchases and all. But you buy them, but what will you do, if you are not able to dispose them off in the market? So when things stabilize, then only Alrosa's purchases will increase. There are people who are buying Alrosa's goods and they are disposing off in the market. And it is a sort of a niche market. If you want to sell in the United States, you avoid, using them. If you want to retain your dignity, if you want to retain your name and everything. So these are all some of the issues involved in buying Alrosa's goods. Yes, in India, you can dispose of Alrosa's goods. People will be ready to buy. In Hong Kong, you will be in a position to dispose of. So depending upon how the demand is, you have to think, you have to plan your purchases. It cannot be a routine thing as it was happening last year. Whereas, in our company, we were having around 20% of our purchases were from Alrosa. But now I don't think it is 20%. It depends on how these Alrosa goods are moving in the market, how much demand is there. Based on that, we make our purchases and do this. That is how it has to be there. And there are ways in which you can make the payments, legal ways. I am not talking of illegal ways. There are legal ways of making the payments for Alrosa. Of course, banks like State Bank of India and a few other banks, they are not willing. Banks which are having very close relations with the United States, they would not like to do anything which will, cause difficulties for them. So we understand. But there are a lot of other banks who are in a position to manage these remittances. We work through them with the help of our consortium banks. We are able to work out this arrangement. But those purchases are not like the earlier days. Every month there used to be a regular purchase. No, it is not like that now. So as and when a demand arises, we feel that there is a need for Alrosa goods and we buy them, that's all. But whether it is Alrosa, whether it is DBS or whether it is anything, stocking beyond a particular point is a real no-no for a diamond industry.
And also I think slow demand helps because China was in lockdown and now the demand is slow. So the equilibrium is maintained.
One has to be very careful about it.
I think now I'll like to have views on the lab-grown diamond, the LGD market. So good afternoon, Mr. Patel. And as a leading player in the LGD industry, what role do you see lab-grown diamonds playing in expanding the jewelry market and consumer behavior towards lab-grown diamond purchases? With size, I mean, carat sells more in LGD segment.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, Divyesh, for having me. Firstly, I hope you can hear me properly.
Yeah, I can. We can.
Perfect. So I'd like to start off by saying, the LGD's progress in the last few years have been tremendous. I'll give you an example. 30% of retailers in America keep lab-grown diamonds in 2020. And the figure has turned to 77.8% by the end of 2023, by the end of 2022, sorry, December. So that rise, because it's the information age, people can learn about this diamond a lot faster. They're understanding what this product is. They're looking at the environmental aspect. They're looking at the affordability aspect, and they are leaning towards lab-grown faster than we expected as well. And the same trend is being noticed not only in America, it is being followed suit in India as well. Like India today is what America's acceptance was around 2 years ago. And I feel like the same spiral effect or the same trajectory is going to happen in India as well. And that is what the current demand and the current sale of our diamonds are showing.
So is this creating a different market and a more affordable market to the natural diamonds? How is the placement of the product?
Right. Our perception around 2-3 years ago, when we when this industry was new, when the awareness was new, we always believed that there's an additional amount of people that will learn about this product who can't afford a diamond, who will move towards this diamond, and that was our theory for a long period of time. But looking at trends and talking to people in the market, speaking to jewelers, we realized that it is not only those, it's people who knew about diamonds, who are already purchasing diamonds, are the ones moving into lab-grown faster. And then, of course, there are a lot more people being added to this industry because, there is a range of affordability that comes with this. There was an aspiration of wearing a solitaire with people, and now they can afford it. And of course, like in terms of creativity, previously when we started, CVD used to only grow like larger stones, like, 1 carat plus stones is what the strength of CVD was. And the acceptance of CVD is much higher than HPHD, what China's product is. Mm-hmm. So, and now CVD is also coming up with smaller goods. And a lot of factories, a lot of manufacturers are coming up. They are cutting and polishing smaller diamonds in CVD. So the fashion jewelry part is also beginning right now. So it's not only the center stone solitaires or the big necklaces that people are buying. It is also those smaller goods which people are leaning towards very recently as well.
Okay, point. And I'll come to this polishing segment once again to you. But in the meantime, Rajagopalan sir, how do you see this growth of LGD, and is there any cannibalization in the polished natural diamonds as a leading player in the natural polished diamond segment? In your view?
Yes, LGD once, 2-3 years back, they were telling that there won't be much, market for LGD and all natural diamonds people will like. But now I find that LGD growth is substantial. As you can see, India's exports to LGD have gone up by, by around 20-30% during the last year. So the growth of LGD is there. And what is in LGD, of course, I am not an expert on LGD. Whatever I used my logic from that only I am talking. Smit ji, if you find that it is a mistake, kindly I request you to correct me. I have a feeling that, it has got tremendous margins. I made one rough calculation. I found that if you are investing around, say, 400 crores in this industry, you will be in a position to get somewhere around 180,000 carats per annum. I believe so. It should be around that figures you will be able to get. And the, amortization cost, assuming that this investment 400 crores in 5 years, you are getting it. And you are paying an interest of 12% on this. So per carat cost will be coming to somewhere around 900 to 1,000 rupees. So as against that, compare per carat diamond, it is $300 to $500. So that is approximately 80 rupees if we put around 240,000, rupees per carat. As against that, the cost of amortization of this capital cost is only around 1,000 rupees. So it's, according to me, it's extremely low. Add another 2,000 rupees for the power and other things. Its main consumption is only power. The rest of them is only methane converted into carbon. So it's nothing. So when you add up everything, So the margin that is available to people here in this is highly substantial and highly good. So, and its ability to absorb shocks in pricing also. Supposing the prices are coming down even by 50%, from $300 to $150 per carat, I have a belief that this industry will be able to survive even with that cost. The only problem is whether they should allow that cost to go down to that extent. It will be like the aluminium, which they were using earlier. Kings and Rajas were using it, and now it is becoming something. So whether they have to allow it to go to commonplace or not, how this entire thing, how the future shapes up, according to me, it depends on that. But however, the people who have got that money to invest in it, and virtually no working capital requirement. Even the manufacturing cost, you can use, machinery, highly sophisticated machinery. You can use human power, manpower requirement is less as compared to small size cutting. So you can use that also, but here it is possible. And another thing, manufacturing to the T. If you want SA quality diamonds, you can manufacture only SA quality diamonds with only 10 or 15% of other quality materials coming out of it. So that, with all these advantages being there, the only thing is it is more engineering oriented. People, it is not merely cutting oriented. So that knowledge people should have, they have to keep somebody and they have to understand it. If that is there, I believe that this industry, if people are in a position to, get themselves acquainted to them, which is happening now more and more, and with proper marketing setup, this industry is a highly paying industry according to me, and it is going to, its benefit, more than 50-60% of that benefit will come by eating out of its natural diamonds only. It is like those pearls that were coming up, cultured pearls versus natural pearls business. That is the process which we are undergoing. Probably in another 2 years, this will continue like this. And then there will be a balance coming in according to me. In that balance, both these, natural as well as the lab-grown diamonds will be able to survive together in a proper fashion. Until then, one has to find one's level. This is my view. Of course, this is a layman's view. It's not an expert's view. I can't call it an expert's view.
I think you have spent a lot of amount of time in the diamond industry, but given you gave the view on lab grown and we have Mr. Patel here, I would like to take a minute to understand his disagreement on the views.
Of course, Mr. Rajagopalan's experience speaks for itself. He's been in this industry for so long. Only a few things, I love that he spoke about marketable diamonds. That is one of the biggest advantage this industry has. Predicting the future, creating programs with retailers who have multiple stores, getting the right supply down. That is the advantage and strengths the companies are going to have. Of course, there is a little bit of technology involved. It's not a plug and play kind of a machinery. People have tried, people have failed as well. And it's not easy for people, and people are not sharing technologies right away. Some people can grow up to 20 carat size, some people can't grow 2 carat as well. So there is differences in this industry as well. And, figures change, per machine, how many carats come out per month is a very variable figure according to the technology one has. The only key strength people are going to have in the future in this industry is the creativity with the jewelry, with the marketability, the right products, predicting the right demand at the right time. So that is the strength of this industry, and I think India can come up on the top in the world in this.
Okay, good. As this LGD industry is growing so fast, I would like to have Mr. Kumar's view on the funding requirement by the LGD players. It will be mainly for the capex funding or the working capital funding. So, as a banker, your view and any challenges that you foresee the players would see for meeting their funding requirements.
So we are already having policy to finance that customers who wants to have this LGD, and almost similar to the natural diamonds. Maybe security coverage or ratings are a little bit different, but we are financing, we are having policy, and we think that this industry also, LGD is also will have its separate market. Maybe people are thinking this is just a theory that that this will take away a little bit share of this natural diamond, maybe in a smaller size, but or say bigger size, I will say. But other theory is also that people, these are the younger generation who will adopt this LGD for fashion statement. So perhaps even 1% of those customers convert to this natural diamond on a later stage. They realize, okay, now we have used this LGD. Now we should go for this natural diamond. That 1% will create a similar level of business that we had already witnessed in 2022. So there will be another traction. So it's the both way. We see it's an opportunity that this LGD, because so many people will continue with us, that the artisans, all those people, they will be, because machines can create that LGD, but it is the people converting into a cut and polished, and it will be then there will not be any difference. Once it is cut and polished, it looks as good as natural one. So the peoples will also remain employed despite whether there is some slack in the natural diamonds. So it's I think that it's a win-win situation for all. It's right now it's in growing LGD. Yes, price has come down, but as Mr. Rajagopalan said, there is still possibility of adjusting, maybe from $125 to it has come down 25, then it may come to $15 per carat. But still, there is in our opinion, as we have discussed with other players, there is still sufficient margin. And we are financing also. We have
and these diamonds being certified, does it help the certifications for lending purposes?
So diamonds, see, the people are already certifying. If it is more than 1 carat, they may not be certifying from GIA, but they will be certifying. They get it certified from IGI because the cost is low side. And when you sell it to America, they generally demand, and you upload it also. They upload all the certificates. So certification in all the cases, it is all these things are required to sell the customers. So if it helps, then it's always good.
Okay. One more question to Mr. Patel. We were speaking about the processing. So just any rough estimate on what would be the processing capacity for lab-grown diamonds in India? And can the processing plants of the natural diamonds be utilized by LGD players?
So in terms of processing or outside production, there are two segments. Like one is the growing part of the lab-grown diamond, kind of miners of India, and then there are the cutting and polishing units as well, who purchase rough from maybe outside or maybe from Indian companies, cut and polish using their existing facilities as well, because there is no difference in the type they manufacture, the way they manufacture, the whole process of planning to, of course, it might be a little easier, like Mr. Rajagopalan said, but the process and the equipment is exactly the same. And that's why, it is even the smaller production, we needed those factories for that kind of demand to be produced. The cutting and polishing of smaller goods, it's mainly about labor and the right kind of goods available. So those companies that were cutting and polishing natural also converted to, a few of them also converted to cutting and polishing lab-grown diamonds, exactly having the same facility.
Okay. I think there are too many questions on my mind, more to ask, but we are running short of time. So we'll take a couple of questions from the audience. I have got some questions. So based on the type of question, I think I'll be able to identify the panel member and try to ask him. So I think one of the question is from Sachin Khedekar, and it says price decline in LGD in last 3 months or since March 2023, and what is the volume growth during this period? So Mr. Patel, if you can.
No, overall the industry, I know the export figures might show a little bit of dip because of the price correction that has happened in the current quarter. But we believe that overall market has been more healthy because the Indian demand has also increased during that time. And if you go to see the amount of carats that has been cut and polished, that has also increased in the current time. So price correction was expected in this market. Like, some of the prices that were mentioned, I don't believe that it can reach to that level. And it won't be sustainable. I don't think if it reaches that level. That's why I think that, in the smaller goods, at least it's going to be more stable than before. The price decline happened faster than we thought it would. Definitely. That is because of the increase in technology and, awareness faster than anyone could ever imagine. We assumed that this period that happened would take us 2 more years. It just shortened in time frame, but the same cumulative graph won't take place.
Okay. One more question from Manish Parikh, and it's again on lab-grown diamonds. So I think there's more interest on lab-grown diamonds. As a jewelry buyer, what should one look at before deciding to buy LGD or natural diamonds? Also, can LGD be bought as investment and can it have resale value?
Honestly, I never believed that jewelry, like studded jewelry, was ever an investment as such. It was always an emotion. It was a gifting thing. It was aspiration. It was something that looked nice. That's why you wore it. Of course, the best thing to do when you buy a jewelry product is understand what both products are. Look at the certificate, understand the stones, look at the color, the value difference, and then make your own judgment. Because, the biggest conversion people have as retailers, even in America, is when people are transparent upfront. They show both the products, they explain the pros and cons of both products, and then the consumer makes his or her choice.
Okay. So I think it's more emotional value than investment or resale. And we'll take one more question from Gaurav Mishra. It again says LGD. Do you foresee technology advancement to result in standardization of forces of lab-grown diamonds, thereby making it a commodity product?
There has been advance in technologies. Like we used to grow colors that were GHI 4 years ago, and now we are growing only DEFs. So there has been an advancement. But again, it is still the process that happens inside a reactor of growing is still very high temperature, high pressure, a lot of gases, a lot of electricity. There are going to be factors which are going to be exponentially harder to control. It is not going to be like, okay, we got it from GHI to DEF, so we'll be able to get it to internally flawless and everything is going to be perfect. It is not as easy as it sounds. So even if a little more standardization happens, I think it's going to be years before that happens.
Okay. One question for Rajagopalan sir from Abhishek. How have receivables been affected for natural diamond companies in the light of the pandemic and changing market dynamics? Are there any concerns? I think he's trying to say receivables.
Receivables, I have not found receivables getting affected on account of either pandemic or afterwards. Receivables, at any time you have to be careful about to whom you are giving your goods. And whether that person, this being a very highly costly item, the selection of the person to whom you are giving the good and the amount of credit you are offering him depends upon your estimate of the credit of that person. Fortunately, this industry is closely knit. And even competitors are in a position to share information regarding the clients. Say, even I get a new client and I find that he has purchased from somebody else. I ask him, what do you think about this person? They are in a position to share that information. He is good, he is not good, or he has taken so much of time to make the payment earlier. So one has to come on to one's own judgment in deciding on how we are going to give credit to that person. So every company has to evolve its own policy of how you are giving goods on credit. And I can only explain about Harikrishna's policy. Harikrishna firmly believes that it is not in financing, it is in selling goods. So we don't, as a matter of policy, we don't give credit to them.
Okay.
So only our good customers who are repeat buyers, whom we trust very much, who have been with us for a very long time, to them only we give credit. And as a result, bad debts happen once in 10 years for a few $1,000s. That is the position. So this, I find that this practice will be very good to adopt. So, but it depends upon one's own business model, how one is doing his business, how one wants to establish himself in business. A lot depends on that. So one has to depend on one's own instincts for this purpose. But overall, in the industry, I can say that bad debts are very few. There are not many defaulters. And the industry as such has been rather prudent in giving credit to their customers. So that is how it is.
I think for this question, I would like to have Mr. Kumar's view as well, as being one of the premier lender working with so many players. Overall, in general, how do you see the trend and any?
Sir, I am fully agree with Mr. Rajagopalan view. Industry itself very cautious when giving anything on credit. Years of years, relationship. Then only they deliver the goods. They are all the big players. Yes, maybe because of a little bit downside sense, maybe 5 days, 10 days, 15 days delays they are having with the consent of the party. But there are no bad debts. No bad debts have been reported by any of my customers. They have already cut down their holding levels. Also, they are where before selling they have already finalized the date and everything. Mostly the payments are received in some pockets, maybe some 5 days, 7 days. When I spoke to 1-2 customers, they said okay, 5-7 days, and with our consent, we allowed because the market is such also. That's all. Otherwise,
It is not alarming. So I think it's 3 minutes past 5. We'll have to come to the end of this session. What we can do is there are a few questions which the CareEdge team will reply, and so I'll hand over to the host now.
Thank you, Divyesh, for moderating the session, and Ujjwal and Manohar for your presentations. Thank you again to all the guest speakers for their insightful views. It was a privilege to host you. And thank you to all the participants for taking the time out and being a part of this CareEdge webinar. For any further queries, feedback, or suggestions, please write to us at corp.com@careedge.in. Goodbye for now. I request the tech team to log off.